It's fall time. Fall is like one of my favorite seasons. I also love winter. These two are like my favorite. I'm not a spring or summer person. I love rain, but I guess I don't like going out outside when it's raining because it gets kind of muddy. Muddy reminds me of muddy water. And winter reminds me of winter from Espa. So Valva has been telling me to be winter biased a few days since, like, for a week she's been saying that you should be winter biased, and I'm not opposed to it. The thing is, I don't know much about them. So far my bias is Giselle. Oh, I forgot to tell you what this whole podcast segment is about. It's Tory's fanfiction laboratory. So I would be talking about any sort of fanfiction. It could be an anime fanfiction, any book fanfiction, but most of the time I write K-pop fanfiction, so yeah, it will be mostly about K-pop fanfiction. The tagline is too many ideas, too little time. As you can see, ideas keep coming in my head, and obviously I can't write all of them. So I share my ideas and how I imagine the story progression would be like, and I tend to talk about. I will tend. I will talk about this sort of things in this segment of the podcast. So it's like another segment. Man, there's way too many segments in ladies podcast. I feel like there should be also an intro, something like 안녕하세요, ladies입니다. Well, today it's just me, Tory, Detroit, whatever name you can call me. Okay, these two are like my name for now. So, all right, man. So there, I've been thinking that between all these episodes, there's definitely an ongoing story kind of thing going on between the episodes because me and my friends, we all interact. We all interact in we have a group chat for the podcast, and it's mainly about soulmates and anything. So apparently newbie is um becoming a stay. We have a stayfication episode with newbie, and man, Pavava has infested her brain with all this whole stupid Hattori thing. So yeah, and now all this time Favawa and Nubiva, all this time, they've been saying, 저기요 누나 혹시 남자친구 있어요? I don't know why they do it, but apparently it's just, they're obsessed with this whole Hattori thing. It's annoying, but what can I say? It's their life. They'll do whatever they want to. Oh, there's a thing called floating heads. So when Favava started talking about this whole 저기요 누나 혹시 남자친구 있어요? And like for a few months back, and so she said it so many times that to the point that whenever I'm like sitting, there's this Jisang's head is like on one shoulder and Fabawa's head like is on other shoulder, and their heads are like moving, floating heads, and all the time they're saying Jogyo Nuna, the whole phrase from the song Wow. And now there's a new head. It's Nubiva's head. Man, these head clouds are like annoying. Anyway, I'm sure if they listen to this podcast episode, they'll be like having so much fun. So yeah, there's that floating head thing. So it's fall time. Fall time means a new different genre of fan fiction appreciation. Fall time is all about crisp leaves, pumpkin spice latte, very basic, but basic reminds me of Sangmin's Bonbon. When he always talks about money, money. I'm not sure. I could be bad at this pronunciation, but anyway, so he talks about the basic stuff as well. So autumn basics, scented candles, pumpkin spice latte, fall crisp lips, the weather, the special smell that comes out in air around in August. The smell starts in my region. The smell starts in August, and man, it's so good, especially in the north side of our country. The smell is so good. When I used to be in university, the smell was very strong because that area was like very foresty and there was even a lake there. And I loved that smell. It was it was so good, man. I miss it. I'm getting nostalgic. Anyway, so fall fan fiction appreciation. So this sort of environment reminds me of books, and also books reminds me of the specific K-pop artists that I see reading a lot. I mean, I know a few people like RM and Jin Young and Wonwoo, but for now in my head, Hyunjin is like playing. Like, think about it. In a fan fiction, like I'm giving a prompt, sort of. Like, yeah. So like Hyunjin walking in a bookstore. This is so unrealistic. I mean, no, he does walk in a bookstore, but it's like he's holding a book and suddenly another person holds the same book again. Let's say this person is a tourist, or I don't know. It kind of reminds me of CE somehow, but not in the same way. It was like other opposite, I guess. Like Chan was a tourist. I shouldn't give spoilers about someone else's fan fiction though. It's Lava's fan fiction. So Hyunjin and this other person, they picked the book same time. But Hyunjin was like nice, and he was just looking at this touristy girl, I guess. And she has this Parisian look. I don't know, any look to be honest. I just love that cobblestone sort of vibe. But anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. So yeah, she gets the book and nothing really happens unless you actually write something out of it. But that feels like a good prompt, like a bookstore visit and something cute happens. I realized one thing that if I write Hyunjin fan fiction and then there's this angst part or like the part where something tragic happens, I won't be able to write it as the Hyunjin fan fiction because Hyunjin cries. I think he cries quite a bit, and I will have a hard time writing a scene like that. Or at the same time, a similar scene like Jongin. I mean, Jongin angst and Hyunjin angst, they hit different, at least for me, because they give me sun vibes. What can I do? Well, technically, many other members give me sun vibes, like Felix give me sun vibes, Minho gives me sun vibes, Sungmin gives me sun vibes, but I started getting sun vibes after watching their eggy photos, but before they gave me kind of like bro vibes, but not Felix. Only Minho and Sungmin, they gave me bro vibes, and suddenly they got converted to sun vibes. What can I say? Vibes change. Sriracha is more like a cousin thing. So, let's see. What sort of fan fiction I should talk about? I realized one thing that most everything I say it just comes out to some sort of reference to the point that my middle name should be reference girl. Like anything I say, if you can, I can reference it back to something what I've said before, and sadly, no one will understand. Not everyone, almost like everyone, wouldn't understand my all of my references because to understand all of my references, you have to live my life. Like I wouldn't understand all of anyone else's references because I haven't lived their life. So yeah. But I guess sometimes my friends understand some of my references, thankfully, and I'm glad they like it. But yeah, I always most of my lines and speeches have something to do with a reference, and yeah, sadly, people wouldn't get it. But what can I say? That's the charm of talking to myself. Okay, I understand what I say. I understand my joke, and yeah, it's kind of lame, but it's also fun. So I have a specific small notebook where I've written many of the fan fiction prompts, but I need to update it. So um, this thing, yeah, the pages, the diary has finished. That is exactly why I didn't write much about it. But yeah, I need to update it, but I'm not sure where I've written the rest of the fan fiction prompts. Anyway, we'll just go one by one, whatever. I just feel like sharing these ideas. Hopefully, somebody would ever write it, but and I also hope that somebody would just, link it back to me so that I can check it out. That would be fun. Let's see. Ah, I again forgot. Something came in my head and I forgot again. Oh, so this reminds me of something. Hoshi has this whole Horangi agenda, the tiger agenda, and it kind of reminds me, it gives me this weird fan fiction prompt like he should visit a mangrove forest, mangrove forest and all over the places, and he should meet the tigers there. Like, you can imagine Hoshi Konsung from 17. He's he's walking in his safari suit in a mangrove forest, and he's like so amazed, and it feels it you can totally make a very lame, funny TikTok mixtape out of it. It's like from different angles and make it meme like, and every shot Hoshi will be very surprised, shocked, amused, seeing tigers, his family. But yeah, it's also a very good fan fiction prompt, not just a TikTok video. Like he sees the tigers and he feels like he's one with nature. Or maybe not, considering I'm not sure if he can survive in a forest, but that would be a very funny story, I feel like. I hope somebody writes it. A few days ago, so thanks to Fababa and Nubiva's floating head venture, a new Jisung fanfiction idea came in my head. Very unfortunate, but I hope somebody writes it. It's not like, it's kind of like, let's see. Before going into that thing, I would love to talk about a few more things because apparently I jump a lot. First of all, Favava has started uploading her fan fiction, A Chance Encounter, on Wattpad. I hope you check it out because man, I'm a huge fan of it. I might be biased, but I really love the story. And yeah, I'm like a totes fangirl of that story. It's a Chan fan fiction, obviously. Chance Encounter, get it? Pun. The credit goes to me of the title though. I tend to give pun related titles a lot. You will get to know, listeners, you will get to know eventually my love for puns. Recently, the trailer of Maxident came out, and Felix, I'm sorry to say, no offense to anyone, but Felix kind of reminds me of the Sandman, a bit unsettling. Also, also, he also reminds me of Edward Cullen from the second movie, New Moon, when he was just about to reveal himself by sparkling under the sun, like handing himself to Volturi to die. Yeah, Felix looks like that. So apparently, Favava's joke fell word came true. Now he is fell word because he's about to sparkle under the sun, or not. Just something between Sandman or Edward Cullen. Speaking of which, Bella has birthday on 13th September, and Felix's birthday is on 15th September. Jisung's is on 14th, so Jisung is like their love child. Let's make Jisung the werewolf. I have this question of this. Speaking of Stray Kids, I do not understand that. Do they have doppelgangers? Like, how do they even manage to have so many schedules? Like the Maniac tour, all these Stray Kids code shows, and also a few days ago they released Time Out, and then in October there's gonna be a comeback. And also they went to KCON and many other places. Like, man, sometimes their schedule stresses me out. It gives me anxiety to the point I have to stop going on Twitter. It's for real. I'm sure they have doppelgangers. It's a theory. It's like that's also can be a very good fan fiction prompt. Like, yeah, there are doppelgangers of Stray Kids. You can use it. I feel like it's a fun story. Yeah, there are like many other stories can be taken from the jokes. Like if zombie apocalypse happened, Chan would definitely steal do his chance room, or what Felix joked about in Jeju, that yeah, I'm gonna protect you all. That was a bit funny. Chan still suffers from that rumor. Legend says that Chan is still suffering from that joke, thanks to the members. So the doppelganger theory isn't so wrong, because JYP tends to have similar doppelganger. Like there was a Chan lookalike. Now he is in Gravity, the group. He is Alan Ma. He used to be a JYP trainee. Also, like Youngjae, Sungmin, what is it called? Shinglong, I think this kid from Boy Story. Also, Wonpil, they kind of have similar looks. So JYP tend to take a similar sort of style. Also, like Yeji and what's her name? I forgot something. Dang, I forgot this Wonder Girls member. She was also in Train to Busan. They also kind of look similar. And also, here's the thing about JYP. There's so many September in JYP. Like 22 September should be like the National JYP Day, because on 22 September, Jin Young, Nayeon, and Sungmin were born. And also there were like so many X September, like Youngjae, Mark, Jay from Day 6, and there's like 3 Septembers also in Stray Kids. That's a bit, well, JYP is infested with September. It's a fact. And here's another thing that came in my mind, that is like this very old fan fiction. It was a very short one shot, a conversation between Edward Cullen and Chad Dylan Cooper from Sunny with a Chance. So Chad started the conversation with Edward, like, her just sparkle under the sun. So if I see Felix in real life now, I'll be like, yeah, her just sparkling under the sun. That's what I feel like. I'm actually going through the lists of things I feel like I need to say, because I make records and then I forget, and then I make records again. Yeah, that's a strange process, not so structured at all. Sorry for that, woman. So the Felward thing was actually a joke Favava made. She named this that Felix should be Edward and Jisung should be Jacob, so it's Jisung. That was a bit weird. I was like, what are you making, girl? Oh, so this one time GOT7 and JYP came to knowing brothers, and Jin Young did um this thing. He impersonated JYP, and JYP was like, he was like very a bit trying to act cool with the GOT7 members, but when Susie came, he's like, hi, like, extra friendly and extra enthusiastic. And Jin Young and many of the GOT7 members made fun of JYP. The way Jin Young did that, when I used to meet K-pop fans in the street, I actually used to do like not that version, but I was like this close of doing that. Like I used to meet them and I started jumping them, even though they're like practically strangers. We're practically strangers, but I still used to do that, and that's how I became friends with many of the people in my university and even many of the Dongsengs. And I still talk to them a lot. I love them. Although I don't think I will able to ever be able to do the stay pose. That is so not for me. So when I meet my stay friends, we kind of like do some fun stuff. I think there should be a different episode on that. It shouldn't be on Tory's fanfiction laboratory. It's more of a soulmates kind of thing. So yeah, my name Tori reminds me of, if you make it talking like say it in Japanese, it's Tori-kun, but it also sounds like Tori-kun, like so my name should be Tori-kun. That was a weird pun. I do wonder if Changbin was the one who made the accident pun, because he was also the one who made the pun on elevator, also no easy. also thunderous, the sorry kung thing. Changbin is very good at puns. And even in shows and interviews, he makes a lot of fun and they're very cute. So I guess there should be a different episode on Stays Day Out. That was like a very fun thing. And it also has something to do with all those Sangminates, Chaningaites, and everything like that. Okay, I think we should go back to the fan fiction, the Jisung fan fiction I started talking about. But here's the thing. I guess I did say, oh my goodness, I keep forgetting. So I did say that most of the Stray Kids member give me son vibes and Sriracha give me cousin vibes. All right, let's start Jisung fan fiction. Usually, the kinds of stuff I write focuses mostly on friendship, but this one is a bit different because it's like friends to not friends, kind of like haters, nemesis, something like that. Two friends, two lovers. This is the dynamic. So the story starts like it's just, you know, the draft. Not it's not even a draft, it's like an idea draft. That is, the story starts like this girl, I don't know, and Jisung, they've been like little kids. They're little kids and their parents are friends and they're also friends. And every year they go on camping somewhere and they're like very friendly and everything. So when this girl, what's her name? Let's give her a name. Okay, I don't know any name. I'm just gonna give her the name A. That's not a good name though. Let's give it M. No, wait. M-A-H. Something, whatever. R. Let's give the name R. So when R is gonna be, when R is like around 10 years old, just R 11 years old. So her family is gonna move out to another district or something. Like they're just gonna change hometown. So they're gonna move out. So they won't be in the same, what is it called, the city anymore. The Jisung and this R person, R girl. And so this is like before moving out this summer, they're just going for that camp. I guess it's not the last camp, but say it's kind of like the last camp in a sense. Maybe let's say it's not the last camp for now. So the two families are like camping just before moving out. The parents, they're a bit on the emotional side, so they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you" and stuff like that. And so Jisung and R is like having normal time, and but something happened. So like say one person took away another's favorite food or candy or something, and that's how the bickering started. Two kids, and it's like they were like taking away food from each other, pranking or doing things, annoying each other, and that's how the let's see, the enmity, the animosity, something like that. It started during camp, and at one point, both of them are like starting to get on each other's nerves. So this girl, she has a huge bug phobia, worse than Misty from Pokemon. So at one point, maybe they're since they're in wildlife and she's afraid of bugs, so Jisung found this huge beetle kind of bug, or and he threw it on that girl. And she was so scared. She was screaming and crying, and it was a mess. And yeah, it was a mess. And she was like very ragey. So what she did, she was like very mad, and she jumped on Jisung, and she was about to take off his eyeballs, like for real. Yeah, she was. Well, Jisung wears glasses, but she was like taking off the glasses and was about to like kind of like the way Beatrix Kiddo does in Kill Bill, the way she takes off the eyeballs of her opponent. She was about to do something like that. Man, kids are scary. No, my brain isn't scary. Kids are scary. So she was about to take eyeballs, and Jisung was like scared, and they were like fighting really bad, and so the parents had to stop. Also, let's say they had older siblings as well. So both of them are Mangne, Jisung and R. So when the quarrel was stopped by the elderly people, and they were still like shouting at each other, "I hate you, I'll never forgive you." And Jisung was also saying the same thing, and both of them are like mad. Jisung is mad for legit reasons, like, "Oh, you were about to take off my eyeballs," and she was mad, like, "You know how I'm afraid I am of big bugs and stuff like that." And yeah, they declare they're never gonna forgive each other. So end of story. Not end of story. Like, so during that whole camp trip, they didn't talk to each other. They avoided each other, and they were saying mean things whenever they were in front of each other. So that's how it ended. So then the girl and her family, they moved towns, and she changed school. She actually, her mom and other people in her family did ask that, "Are you gonna patch up with Jisung or not?" And she was said that no. And afterwards, she changed. She got into a new middle school, and life happens, and she forgot. So fast forward, now their family once again came back to the old town, and she got into the high school in that area, and Jisung is also there. And their old rivalry is like, yeah, still there. Like the first day in high school, she sees this annoying Jisung in her eyes, annoying, hanging out with his friends and all, and she avoids them. And obviously, surprisingly, actually not surprisingly, according to plot, she gets into the same class as him, and in fact, they have side by side seats. At least this is how I want it to be, so that the bickering goes even more. So yeah. So yeah, she came to the class, and he kind of scoffed, and she noticed, and she also noticed the empty chair, and she wasn't really happy about it. She has to sit there, but obviously the teacher sent her there, and the teacher also asked Jisun to show her around the class, and obviously she's like, "I don't need your help." But so they were also like paired for assignments and stuff like that eventually. So since Jisung is like he let's say, I'm not saying it's canon or anything. It can even be out of character. But teenagers in general, kids in general, they kind of like to show off and be a bit arrogant about things. And he kind of like gave her a look that kind of seemed arrogant. And she was like, she internally decided that I'm not gonna give him any attention. I'm just gonna treat him like a wall and everything. And Jisung had friends there, like, rest of Strikers member, obviously. And they were asking like, "What's wrong with this girl? Do you know him?" And he must have said something. Oh my god, that kid! Oh my god, that teenager kid! That fan fictional Han Ji-sung said something like that. Oh yeah, she's head over heels for me. Kind of like got on her nerves. Okay, I feel like I didn't make this much, and now as I'm like talking, I feel like making more. But if anyone writes it, it's gonna be fun. I feel like it's gonna be a fun story. So what happens eventually is like, yeah, they're gonna patch up, because they're like, not like patch up. It's like, say in the first place when they have assignments and stuff, and she will be like, let's be professional about it. Just do our work, and yeah, forget about the past for now at least. And yeah, they decide to, but eventually they become friends again. It's gonna take a while if I'm the one who's writing it, but if other than that, let's see. I don't know how long they're gonna take to patch up. If I were writing, they would take a long time, because I like slow burn stuff. So I don't know. I like mega slow burn. Like, it's not slow. It's slow. Like slow. Okay, I need to start out talking like that. It's weird. So yeah, this is a story, and I don't know. Yeah, so here's the thing about hatred. It's like hatred is like a different form of attraction, I feel like. So what even what I don't want this character to be very, like dense, doesn't understand anything. So she let's say she has read enough Wattpad or YA stuff, or watched enough K dramas. So she believes that the opposite of love isn't hatred, it's indifference. So she is very indifferent at some point. And in the third act conflict, maybe Jisung does another stupid stuff, or that girl R does another stupid stuff. I don't know. So yeah, stuff happens, chaos ensues. But let's say she's gonna be very good friends with rest of the Stray Kids member, because obviously the Hyungs and everyone else, his classmates, and they'll be like, "Oh, really? Fun. Let's befriend her." Something like that. It feels like a fun story. I think I should have end today's episode here. I mean, I shouldn't talk about more than one fan fiction story in an episode, because yeah. So the tagline once again: too many ideas, too little time. That is why I'm making this podcast, so that someone else can, listen to it and be interested in writing fan fiction or writing stories in general. Okay, so have a lit night. Bye.